Good afternoon, Conference. Junior doctors across the UK continue their search for jobs, and the JDC continues to ensure that the views of juniors are represented at the highest level of government and the profession. The future of medical training still dominates the thoughts of everyone attending here today. There's no doubt that emotions we all felt last year of that seemingly daily procession of mistakes, disbelief, anger, unhappiness, ad hoc attempts at avoiding worse disasters and blame might be less visible this year, but are simmering under the surface nonetheless. The report generated by the Took inquiry has been published to the huge relief of the profession. It is heartening that we have been listened to. At last, an attempt has been made to understand what happened last year, when expediency and mismanagement ruined an attempt to put some structure into the working lives of junior doctors. The report gave a very plausible critique of why things went wrong as they did, and has proposed solutions to which even government has responded. What I hope the government has learned is that constant reorganisation of the NHS has been driven by political expediency, not concentrating on the fundamental needs of the patient and those who care for them. In our case, that means putting training back in the centre of reform. Junior doctors aren't a drain on resources. We are vital providers of care and need training throughout our careers. This is not an afterthought, not an inconvenience, but an intrinsic part of the life of NHS. Reform for reform's sake must stop, or the casualties of short-term thinking will continue to be those that the NHS depends on. The MMC Programme Board is dominated by the profession, and so it should be. When I took office in September, the temptation was to look back and simply rail against the unfairness of it all. The BMA came in for heavy criticism from a disillusioned profession, sometimes deserved, sometimes not, but under the circumstances, understandable. Involvement in the Programme Board has borne fruit. 2008 selection process has been influenced by the better by the views of the grassroots juniors. We have a local system, unlimited opportunity for application and interview. However, the BMA and its representatives are under no illusion that further changes are essential, and such a disjointed approach must never take its toll on the profession again. We continue to deal with poor workforce planning, rushed implementation and lack of transition, which has led to bulges in applicants in a number of specialties. Solutions have been proposed in an attempt to manage the bulge. The post-CCT fellowships, unfortunately, are not a solution. They do not solve the underlying problem of a lack of much-needed and promised consultant expansion. The BMA has written to ministers in a minority report, supported by a number of trainee groups, including the Association of Surgeons in Training and the British Orthopaedic Trainees Association, to state our opposition to these posts as having no short or long-term benefit to junior doctors, especially when considering how these posts are funded with training budgets, and they do not help the service either. Junior doctors were angered again at the beginning of this month by yet another derisory sub-inflation pay rise by the DDRB. The hardest hit are our medical students approaching their finals, who are due to start work in August 2008. Rather than concentrating on their approaching exams, they are angry, disillusioned and upset that they will suffer an effective 20% pay cut following the unilateral removal of free accommodation and no appropriate recompense by the DDRB. This exposes the inconsistency of the DDRB and is a significant cause for concern. The JDC and the Medical Students Committee, with the support of the wider BMA, are currently seeking urgent negotiation with the NH employers and the Department of Health to rectify the situation as the first step. But let me assure you today that all options are being considered to rectify this situation. This inadequate pay rise yet again fails to take into account the continuing rise in student debt and the ability to pay that debt, which is accrued in the pursuit of a career to provide excellent care for patients. This problem must be addressed urgently to ensure that we attract students who aspire to excellence and not based on their ability to pay and cope with the financial demands of a medical career. In essence, junior doctors feel that they are not viewed as dedicated professionals who embrace a difficult role, both in terms of technical expertise and the art of medicine, training beyond the understanding of many, an unforgiving hierarchy at work, and the necessity to make decisions of fundamental importance. They keep the service running, working antisocial hours, covering gaps in the rota, whilst always keeping patient care their highest priority, and ensuring that they receive high-quality care they deserve and expect. Instead, junior doctors are made to feel like a nuisance, a problem to be got around by employers and government. What the problems of 2007 have highlighted is that it doesn't have to be like that. The medical profession needs to find a consensus above personal and political agendas to work out why it is special. As we heard this morning, the role of a junior doctor can be limitless, but clarity is required. Clarity to reclaim our vital place in the healthcare team and that we are not the dog's body. Clarity to reclaim our right of training, which must not be undermined by poor planning and service pressure. Clarity to reclaim our right to aspire to excellence and not be consigned to mediocrity due to financial mismanagement. To do this, we need not only unity in the profession, but respect from the civil servants and managers, an acknowledgement that we are all on the same side, striving for an excellent service for our patients. My call to those who run the NHS and its organisations is, we start as students aspiring and training for excellence. Allow us to continue to strive for excellence for the benefit of our patients. We are professionals, respect us as such. Show us trust and we will show you trust back. Allow us to treat patients as they should be treated. Learn in a way that strives for the best and we will respect you for it. Thank you, Conference.